So when it comes to software engineering and web development, one of the things that you're probably going to want to learn is something called SSH keys. So how do SSH keys work? And I will say that there's two main flows of this. The first flow is like connecting to the server for the first time and you have a known hosts file. I'm going to actually skip that one for this video to try to keep it simple. So we're going to move on to the second part of the flow, which is how do you actually authenticate the user? How is the user who's connecting to the box, how does the server actually verify that they are who they say they are? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about in this video. It's going to be a short and sweet video. But before I dive into it, I do want to kind of ask you guys, if you guys enjoy these diagramming videos, I am thinking about making a paid school community for like $29 a month, where you could have access to more of these type of videos. You can have direct access to ask me questions. Every week, I'll try to have a challenge that you guys can diagram something out, and then we can review it once a week, where you have a Q&A section where you can ask me questions. We can go over your challenges, and you can just have an opportunity to have an actual mentor. Maybe you're a junior engineer, you don't have enough people mentoring you, or you're trying to break into the industry. I think having someone who can actually help you out and ask questions directly to is much better than just chatting with ChatGPT all day, and hopefully you're learning the right stuff. So anyway, back to the video. Let's say that you, as a developer, you need to be able to access this machine to start spinning up a Docker container or run some commands inside this machine. The way that we can allow other people to have access to this machine, or at least one way is by using SSH keys. Another way is by using authentication, so username and password. But usually using SSH is a little bit more secure, and also you can have this be a GitHub action, right? If you want to do some automation, typically there's like a key that you can spin up and give it access to the VPS. So let's rewind just a little bit. When you first create the VPS, you can provision it with a public key already embedded inside the box. Like if you're used to AWS, when you create an EC2 instance, it's going to ask you for a key pair. And once you create that key pair, you can download it from AWS, and then you can have that private key. I'll just say private key. And you can also have a public key that you need to put somewhere on your machine so that later on you can use it to connect to your VPS. Now you can also create these key pairs directly on your laptop if you want to. So on Mac, you just say SSH keygen. That is going to walk you through a process of creating a key pair. And once you're done creating it, you can actually view your keys here, where you have a .pub extension for your public key, and you have one that does not have the extension for your private key. Disregard these other things. I need to get rid of them. They're just old keys. So once you have those two keys, that is exactly what we're kind of talking about down here. We have these two keys. And the public key is what is going to live on the server. Again, it's public. You can give this out to people. It's fine. But the private key you should never give out. You should probably keep it on your computer and keep it safe, right? So that's step one, is you provision a VPS, you give it the public key so that later on in the future, it can use it to validate that when you connect, you are the person who you say you are. All right, so let's walk through the actual flow. So the first step is you are going to try to connect to the VPS. So we'll say you connect to the VPS. Now the VPS is going to have to basically verify that you are the person who you say you are. So in order to achieve that, the VPS needs to send you back something. It needs to send back a challenge. Now for the most part, this could just be some random text, right? It just doesn't really matter. But the thing is that you're going to hold on to that challenge inside the VPS. And when it gets to your computer, when that response comes back, what the client's going to do, what your laptop's going to do, is it's going to use your private key to sign the challenge. Okay, now typically the public key is for encrypting your message. The private key is for decrypting the message. But for signing, you can just use a private key. And what the signing does, basically, it's going to attach some stuff to the message so that you can send it back as a signed message. So send back signed challenge. And since the VPS has the public key, it can use it to verify the signed challenge. And once it verifies it, either it's going to be invalid, and we can send back a rejection, or it's valid and we can send them back saying, hey, you are successfully logged in. So I'll just say like for successfully logged in. I don't know why these two are so small. I got a couple of things I need to fix out in my tool that I'm building out. But at this point, you are authenticated. And so the connection between your client and the server itself, we verified that you are who you say you are, because we know the only person in the world who has this private key should be you. And so you're the only person who can actually sign the challenge that I just sent to you. And I have your public key, so I can actually verify the challenge and send you back a successful login. Okay. So that's kind of how SSH works. There is more to this. I don't want to kind of dive into the weaves. Maybe in the next video I could dive into the first part, but I kind of just talked about the second part of authentication. Okay. There is a whole nother part about how SSH keys work with like the known hosts file. And I'm going to probably make that in the next video because I want to make sure you actually understand this whole approach. For the most part, it all boils down to the same thing. You have public keys, you have private keys. Typically, there's some type of thing you have to send over that's signed and the other person can verify it. And then at that point, you can start sending back your encrypted messages. Now, even this is already encrypted, right? There's another handshake that's going on, different types of keys to verify that all this messaging is encrypted. This is after the part where everything's encrypted. We still need to verify that the person sending the messages in is me. But yeah, let me know if this is useful. And also, again, leave a comment below about that paid community I kind of talked about. I'm just kind of looking for your feedback. I know that if you're like a student or in college, it's kind of useful to have like a mentor to help you out. And I'd also say that a lot of the stuff I learned in college like didn't prepare me for the real world versus like this stuff does. And so I think having access to this every month and learning more from me, I think could be very beneficial. But you let me know. Let me know in the comments if this would be helpful. All right, have a good day and happy coding.